Kia ora. Today we're going to solo Zekvir on his 2 question mark difficulty. This gives you an achievement and a funny mount. This isn't going to be as scripted as most videos, but I'll offer some advice as we watch through the fight. I was 619 item level, but you can probably kill him just fine with 615 or so. If possible, drop as much mastery as you can from your gear without dropping item level, since your DPS here will be very important. If you play both specs equally well, then I've found Devastation easier, but it's very doable as either spec if you have the gear. You can find Zekvir in the bottom left of Aj Kahet. You'll need to be any delve on level 10 or higher to unlock this difficulty. My talent build for this is very different from anything you might have played before, but it focuses on maximizing damage dealt to cocoons, since that's basically the cornerstone of the fight. If your gear is a little better than mine, you could probably play a fairly standard Mythic Plus build and do fine. I went with the Amorphous Relic and Porcelain Arrowhead Idol, but your choice of combat curio was very flexible. I found Ragefield was not worth it, since you have to spend a lot of time healing Bran for very little benefit. Sadly, Bran is fairly useless. We're going to open the fight with a max rank Fire Breath, but you don't have to do this. Just any boss damage is very useful here, and if you max rank it, it'll be back up around the time of the first egg. This is an awful attempt. How did I kill this? The fear is a big circle. You want to dodge that. Okay, so this is the first cocoon, and this is basically the most important part of the fight. We have a very specific rotation we're going to use here. It's Fire Breath, Disintegrate, and then an offensive Engulf. And then just follow up with Living Flame and Disintegrate depending on what you have up. You might have also seen Zekvir cast a heal there. We're going to want to interrupt that, because in phase 1 it heals him for 10% of his health, and in phase 2 it heals him for even more. I'm going to put a macro in the description that'll help you interrupt him without needing to target him. So you can see his melees do quite a bit of damage. Whenever he casts a spell, we're going to try and move away so that we take less melees overall. He can also crit you, which will basically one-shot you. There's not much you can do about that. So we see another cocoon here. Rotation is the same. High rank Fire Breath, Disintegrate, and then Engulf. We have a few tools for ones that are going to be particularly close. You can use Tip the Scales as like an instant Fire Breath. That's very useful if it overlaps with like Zekvir casting something like this Angler's Web on you. You've also got 2 Engulf charges, so if an egg is looking particularly bad, you can send 2 into 1 egg. I don't know if I had to do that here or not, but yeah, it's an option you've got. I'm going to dodge this fear. Look at that, personal growth. Most of your progression will just be getting these egg cocoons down reliably, so focus on those a lot. Bran does a bit of tanking here, he's not very good at it. We prefer he attacks Bran, but there's not a lot we can do to control it, so whoever he is on is fine. This fight is very slow and steady. Like, we're looking at about an 8-minute fight timer as Prez. It's a bit shorter on Dev. But we can literally do this all day. So there you can see he put a magic debuff on me and Bran. I can ignore the one on Bran, but you do have to dispel it on yourself, even if an egg is up at the time. You want to be very careful with your hover charges here, because sometimes you kind of need them to get out of trouble. You can run Time Spiral to give you an extra one. You shouldn't need it, but yeah, it's an option, obviously. Same rotation into the egg here. I'm a bit slow on this one because I forgot to change my target quickly enough, but it's still going to be just fine. There I do dump both my engulf charges since I'm worried I'm behind, It probably didn't end up being necessary, but the cost of sending 2 isn't too bad. Okay, so this is the transition into phase 2. He's going to do nothing for 10 seconds but channel. He's immune to damage, but you can still living flame him or set up hots on yourself. You're basically just farming resources. You can take a break here if you want, tab out, look at Discord, whatever. So in phase 2, a few mechanics change. He does this new one where he just spawns like brown swirls everywhere. These will one-shot you, but they're pretty easy to dodge. The cocoons stay exactly the same. We still have to focus on killing them as soon as possible. That's an awful claw smash. He'll kill you with that a lot. The fair circle in phase 2 also shoots out these blue balls, so watch out for those. Don't want blue balls. This is another pretty close one here, but it's going to be fine. That was a slightly late dispel. The Angler's Web in phase 2 also shoots through to all of these portals, so you just want to stand far away. Sometimes you spend a lot of this fight just running around and dodging, and you don't get a lot of time to living flame the boss. That's not really a big deal. You'll cleave him with Fire Breath when you're killing cocoons. And like Brand does a little bit of damage too. It's not a lot, but you know, it exists. At some point in this phase, you're going to want to send Bloodlust as well. I recommend using it when a cocoon spawns, because that means you'll cover 2 cocoons with it. So I'm going to get away from these portals here, because the web's going to go to all of them. And then I'm going to watch these orbs. Remember that glide gives you a little speed increase, so if you're out of hover charges or you're trying to save them, you can use that to get out of mechanics as well a little bit faster. If you have any on-use trinkets like Spymaster's Web, or the DPS trinket that drops off Queen and Shirak, then those will help a lot with cocoon consistency. Quick Candlestick is also quite good. I did run Spymasters here, but I don't have a second on use yet. If you wanted to make this fight slightly faster, like I'm not casting Disintegrate a lot on the boss since I'm trying to save for cocoons. But if you're feeling confident on cocoons, you could definitely send more Disintegrates into the boss as well and just make it faster. I don't really mind like the slow, patient 8-minute fight, but if you're not that kind of person, then yeah, you've got options to speed it up. I'm also still running quite a bit of mastery here that I'd probably drop if I had more gear options. If you do get hit by the fear or one of the fear orbs, you just die or get feared forever, both of which aren't exactly win conditions, so you'll spend a lot of this phase just dodging around. Honestly, I don't think I could see anything there, but sometimes you get lucky. At a certain point, you can just ignore the last cocoon and go for the boss kill, but I'd be careful with that. Watch out for the portals. Watch out for the orbs. This is a good example of where you can just ignore the egg and go for the boss, since the boss only has a little bit more health than the egg anyway. And that's basically Zekvir. I'd already killed it as Devastation, so I didn't get the fancy achievement or anything. I already had it. But yeah, fight clocked in at 8 minutes 52 seconds there. You can kind of expect the same.